Hello, hello. This is Yaeshi Jin. If I sound awful, it is because I'm currently recovering from a cold. This is probably my third one in the year, but that's neither here nor there. I have been meaning to get back into stream, but you know, for one thing or another, I've either been busy with work or a little under the weather. So bear with me, I will be back soon. However, I have gotten into MegaBonk, as you can see here. I was not planning on recording, if I'm being quite honest, but once I hit the 3-minute mark, as you saw at the start of the video, I felt like I really had a decent build going for the AFK challenge. And I felt like I should probably do something with that, right? So I'm not gonna yap too much, as I'm still, like I said, recovering from a cold. But I am sort of going to touch on my reasoning for a couple of things, I guess. The first would be the character choice was Amog, whatever you want to call him. His poison ability, the ability for him to spread the poison between dead enemies to the next or nearby enemies, makes him a very powerful choice for the, what are they called? Crowd waves? Whatever it is. So that was the reasoning for that. I will say it took me about 4 or 5 restarts before the enemies managed to bully me into a corner, which, as you're gonna see, and as you've already seen with the stone golem, is extremely helpful for a lot of the just the volume of enemies that come through. The bosses in particular, because of their large hitbox, can't really stand on top of you, and they get shoved up the wall just by default. I don't know if it's the way the game is programmed or if it's intentionally designed that way, but you'll see later on, towards the end, Chunkham also gets forced up the wall. But yeah. Apologies. Outside of that, we have a bunch of lifesteal, which was, I think, the first item I took on this run. Lifesteal is just such a good tome to have, because it basically guarantees your survival. If you get it to above about 250 and you're not taking too much damage, or you have Aegis relatively high leveled, you should not have any issue surviving the AFK challenge. I think the real big thing would be, in my opinion, would be getting the regen as high as possible. Making sure you have a good base of HP. You'll see I have the HP tome here. It is currently at level 2. I do get it up to, I believe, level 4 or 5 by the end. But yeah, making sure you have a decent base of HP, making sure you have a good amount of regen, and some sort of defensive option, whether that be with Aegis or maybe high evasion tome, armor tomes. Shield is a little contentious because it hinges on the fact that you're killing enemies quickly enough that you get a sort of reprieve between hits, which is not always an option. So I would definitely opt for either having Aegis or maybe a very lucky and high amount of evasion. I'm just gonna let the game play out here for a bit. I'm sort of I'm recording the audio here, the voiceover, in a single take, so I am kind of having to mute my mic and like clear my throat and stuff every few seconds, but we're chilling. Okay, you did just see the point I was making earlier about chunk ham. Just the boss hitboxes are wide enough that they trigger the wall climbing program, animation, I don't know what you want to call it, but basically they're forced up the wall because we're between two corners, or we're at a corner between two walls. Instead of the boss being able to stand on top of us, it'll immediately try to climb the wall because of its hitbox not allowing it to stand on top of you. Now things do get a little dicey here towards the last minute or two, simply because enemies start to spawn so frequently that they do begin to spawn underneath your feet. And this is where survivability really becomes important. You want a very high amount of regen, a good amount of shielding, and a very decent amount of HP. And if I'm going through the options and you're not seeing everything too in detail, I do leave a couple of maybe like 5 or 10 seconds of the finished build at the end of the video, which is maybe another minute or so here. And I will say, this is probably the luckiest and probably the weakest build that I have ever had to survive the full 10 minutes of any single run. The corner meta is really strong. I would highly suggest maybe trying to experiment with that a bit if you are also looking to finish the AFK challenge. And you did see we did get the two achievements. That's kind of why I wanted to record, is because obviously you only see that the first time that you clear the achievement, so that's basically the end. We're coming up on the final throws here, but yeah, if you've stuck around this long, thank you for watching. I don't often put up single videos like this. I'm more focused on streaming, but you're welcome to stop on by anytime you see me live. Make sure, if you can, hit the follow or subscribe button. It's very much appreciated, and I'll see you next time.